All right, guys, welcome back to Tiffany Tells Testimonies podcast, season 2, episode 5. Una, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco. 5. You know what I'm saying? 5 in the building. If I had money, I'll tell you what I do. I'll go downtown, buy a Ford truck or two, because I'm crazy about a Ford truck. I'm crazy about a Ford truck. Going to buy me a Ford truck and cruise it up and down the road. Amen. Okay, that's our song for today. That's our song for today. Get into it. Guys, I'm excited to have this episode. I'm excited for my guest today coming to the stage or the chair or just right beside me. Is Brenda Wise. Give it up for Brenda Wise. Know what I'm saying? Yeah. So Brenda Wise is here with us today at the podcast situation. So Brenda, I start with this question. I always ask, why you ask this question? I ask this question. And the question is, who is Brenda Wise? Just jump on in there.
Okay. Well, first, I want to thank you for inviting
Okay,
me. um, but Brenda Wise, I am a woman of God.
come on, woman of God.
I'm a wife,
Yep.
a mother
Hmm.
of six daughters,
Hey, did y'all hear that? Six.
six,
Six.
and a few grandchildren. I am a blended family, so in total, we have nine children together.
My Lord, today. Can we give it? And send prayers? Come on, that's nine
Yeah.
kids.
Yes.
Chillins.
We multiply for sure,
Come
you
on,
know.
Lord. That's what you tell us to do. That's what you told us. For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and so me and my husband, we do have our own ministry.
Okay.
Um,
What's the name of that ministry?
we have Chain Breaker Ministry,
Come
and we
on.
also have a podcast, a consecrated conversation.
Come on. Get into it.
And yeah, so we both, minister
Mm.
to people and things like that. So
Come on, Brenda.
I'm
Come
a little
on,
shy.
Brenda. Hey, she's a little shy. Y'all better get
No.
into it because some of y'all couldn't do it, so I don't want to hear it. But come on, Brenda. That's what's up. Yes.
Yeah.
Listen, I met Brenda and her husband through a ministry I used to do called Better is One Day Ministry, which was
Hmm.
a deliverance ministry, and they came and we connected like right away. There was like
Yeah.
a natural like connection that we had with each other. And they were sound, her and her husband were sound like ministers to me and my husband while we were dating. And so y'all pretty much like helped us, guided us, called us back to the Lord in times because there was moments where I was like, he don't, saying I don't know about this, but they both like, yeah, y'all both like walked beside us and helped us during that time and just have been really good to us. And so really excited to still be in community, to be in relationship
Hmm.
with y'all and thankful for God like making us like connect. And so,
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm really thankful because, even in that time that the Lord was drawing me to your name
Hmm.
on the deliverance map. And so it was, something that we know that it was a divine appointed time that we were supposed to meet.
Yeah. Come on, Deliverance. Shout out to Deliverance because
Hmm.
that is what it is.
Yeah.
And y'all have been doing it and all the things for a while now. And
Yes.
so we believe in it. We believe that Christians can be
Yeah.
oppressed and
Yeah.
they got to get it out.
Yeah.
And so
Cast it out.
chain breakers. Know what I'm saying? Breaking chains in this place.
Yes.
And so, guys, we're excited because we're talking about a topic today that I think is common, but again, a lot of people don't really talk about it, especially ministers or anything like that, because of the big S word, which is shame. Shame has really plagued a lot of people from sharing their stories and sharing about this topic. But today we're going to talk about abuse, and we're also going to talk about forgiveness. And so I know abuse comes in many forms and they come in many ways. There's sexual, mental, emotional, and physical abuse. And we're going to be talking about the physical abuse today that we both have um, been through and also can testify about. I want to have a full disclaimer. Maybe this episode is not for you. Maybe you're not ready to hear this type of episode. We're going to keep it as simplified as possible, but we do not want to trigger. And what does trigger mean? It's like when we say something or something gets spoken and you become stuck, or you have a moment where you feel like you can't express, or maybe you have a big explosion of expression of emotion. I would say pause the episode. I would say get up, walk outside, drink some water. Maybe you need to talk to somebody, but the intention is not to traumatize you by sharing our trauma. I think a lot of people bleed on people and they don't care what happens to them. We don't want that. We don't want you to be bled on and just be out here red and bloody. We would love to use our stories to encourage you to not only like share your story, but to do your work. And so, just want to have a full disclaimer and say maybe this episode is not for you to watch right now. Maybe you got to come back to it. But again, our intentions is not to cause more harm. We actually want to spread more healing. And so, just want to say that. I feel like I got to start doing the little disclaimer at the bottom of the screen.
Mhm.
You know, they'd be like, "Please, if you take this, you might die and your kidney you might bleed." I'm like, "Why am I take this if the chances of me dying
Yeah.
is high?" So they
Yeah.
always say that real slow at the bottom, but I'm like, I'm gonna say it loud. It's not gonna be in fine print. It's gonna be in clear
Mhm.
print. And so, yeah, just all jokes aside, just want to make sure you know that we want to let this be a safe place and not a harmful place for you to tune in and hear our stories. And so, um, I'll jump in. And
Mhm.
so, I'm going to give you kind of spark notes of my story. I was raped at the age of 9 by my babysitter's father, and it wasn't just a one time thing. It was a situation that continued on for months. And for me, that was very traumatic. Before then, I didn't know anything about body parts. All I knew was like basketball and candy. That was like my favorite thing in the
Yeah.
world was just to eat candy and play basketball and play sports. And so when I was exposed to this, it pretty much opened my eyes to perversion and the body and all those things. Um, my parents worked different hours, and so this was a trusted family. This was a trusted people that they allowed me to be around. I think they didn't know that they didn't know. I'll get into it later, but they didn't know that this was transpiring until I told them maybe 12 years later. And so, but during this time, I was afraid to tell them because my offender did tell me if I did share this that he would kill me. And so I didn't want to die. And so out of fear, I'd never shared what was transpiring, but I would act out before I went over there. That was kind of one of my ways of crying for help. I would just kind of cry, yell, and kind of scream. And my mom thought I was just being honorary, but honestly, what was happening is that I was like, "Hey, I don't want to go over there because there's something happening, but I cannot tell you." Blink twice. I was blinking and shaking. I'm trying to do all kind of Morse code to try to tell her, what's going on, but she didn't catch it, and my dad didn't catch it either. And so that went on for a long time, and I didn't know. I didn't feel like something was wrong with me fully because I was still maintaining. I didn't feel like I went crazy or anything like that, but there were things that came about because of the abuse. But we'll get into that a little bit later, but that's just a little bit of a framework about how it happened to me, what happened, and when it happened. And so I can go into a little bit more details as we get into the story. But Brenda, if you want to share when it happened for you, how long it happened, and maybe who it was, if you feel like comfortable
Yeah.
share.
So mine began when I was 10 years old. My parents had separated when I was 10.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, my mom left my dad and she left me with my father.
Mm-hmm.
And so my abuser was my dad. So my dad was the one that was, he molested me.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, he did, physically abuse me as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so even at that time, at 10 years old, I didn't realize, like, hey, everything just felt so like you said, things were entered in. Like for me, it was I didn't know anything about body parts either.
Yeah.
And so I was introduced to those things.
Mm-hmm.
I had a father who would walk around in his undies, but then when it was bedtime, he slept naked.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had um, if you think about it too, the spirit of incest,
Mm-hmm.
you know, perversion, incest,
Mm-hmm.
in the bloodline now, because now I have my father, doing these things that he should be doing, like with his own wife, not with his child.
Yeah.
And so this, for me, it lasted from the age of 10 to 14.
Mm-hmm.
At 14 was when I moved with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And so, throughout the whole time, I started misbehaving as
Mhm.
well. Like I was getting into fights at school.
Mhm.
I was getting suspended from school, but they would, take back the suspension because my dad would go to them and say, "Hey, her mom left us."
Oh, so
So
they would have
she's
some,
so his excuse for my bad behavior was because mom left.
but
And
not what he
mom,
was
but
doing.
that wasn't the truth. The
Yeah.
reason why I was an angry child, the reason why I was fighting in school was because I was getting molested,
Yeah.
and then I was going to school and I was being bullied by a boy.
Mhm. Yeah.
At the time I'm like, oh, it's because, how, I would tell, some, one of my aunts, oh, this is what's going on. Oh, it's because he likes you. Well, no, I'm already getting abused at home.
Right.
And then I have another boy who's being mean to me at school,
Yeah.
so I was getting it at home, getting it at school. And it just, for me, it just kept going into a domino effect of,
Yeah.
okay, now I'm angry.
Mhm.
Now I'm punching walls and I'm hitting people, and it just, then it went from that. Once I left, and moved in with my mom, I started drinking. I
Mhm.
started doing drugs.
Yeah.
And so it's like I just kept, you know, kept
Spiraling.
going,
Yeah.
spiraling out,
Yeah.
So yeah, my dad, even going back to that, is just, he molested me, but he also physically abused me. I would have to wear long clothes, to cover myself up because he used to leave marks on my body from when he used to hit me.
Mhm.
And so it was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a lot for me to take in, like I had told my husband, I was like, hey, I lived in a war zone. People don't realize what that there is children who have homes that live in a war zone.
Mhm.
They're scared.
Mhm.
There's shame. Now
Yeah.
you have perversion coming in. You got rage.
Yeah.
And we don't know how to handle that at 10 years old, 11, 12, 13 years old, because not only that, now I'm going through hormonal changes,
Right. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so I didn't know how to handle it.
Yeah, it's like our body's growing stuff, our
Mhm.
emotions are growing, and so it's just
Mhm.
like all this clashing within us, and
Mhm.
then we got things happening outside of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is it's a lot. And so, what do you think that that opened the door to other things? Because I was thinking for myself, like after that happened to me, I started being promiscuous.
Mhm.
There was a part of me that was just like, oh, okay, well, this is what you do. This is
Mhm.
what guys want me for. And so
Mhm.
then it's like that part of like, well, just let them have my body. And so
Right.
there was a part of me that just I was drawing older guys towards me, and
Mhm.
there were men that wanted me, but they were older, and then they only wanted me for my body, and that was the narrative that I kept in my mind. It was like, well, they only want me for my body, so I'm gonna give them my body, and then
Yeah.
that's just what it is.
Yeah.
Because and so, do you think that it
Uh,
opened the door for you? I know
Yeah.
you mentioned alcohol and all that type of stuff,
Yeah.
but do you
I
think it opened
mean,
the door for more perversion?
oh yeah, of course. I mean, not only that, now then, because now I want to explore my own body too,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so that happens,
yeah,
it's like, okay, well, I want to flirt and attract these men,
yeah.
but even as I got older, it was like when I was 15, I got raped too.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't anything that I was doing in that moment,
Mm-hmm.
but those kinds of things, like, yeah, I was like, let me I was more so exposing my own self
Mm-hmm.
because I thought this is what men want.
Yeah,
Men want to see my body.
yeah,
Men want my body.
yeah.
And so I guess this is what this is
That's
what
what I'm
I'm
made for.
made for. This is what I'm
Yeah,
supposed to do.
yeah,
Like, just give them my body.
yeah.
And so, even, yeah, of course I would cry,
Mm-hmm.
and there's moments of alone in my bedroom and I would cry,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like, why is my dad doing this to me?
Yeah.
And then now I leave my dad's house and I get raped.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why did this happen?
Yeah. Is it something wrong with me?
Is something
So you
wrong with
start
me?
internalizing,
Mhm.
thinking that, oh, it's me.
It's me.
I'm the common denominator.
Mhm.
So it must be something that I've done.
Yeah.
And I think that's a reason why a lot of women like internalize this abuse,
Mhm.
because it's like instead of them thinking that, hey, no, it's something wrong with them, It's like, no, it's something wrong with me
Mhm.
because they keep doing this to me. So it's something wrong with me. I need to change this. I need to fix this.
Yeah.
But that's just like the programming and the wiring of the enemy
Yeah.
to get you to self shame versus like
Mhm.
outwardly express that no, it's something wrong with them versus
Mhm.
being something wrong with me.
If you think about when you're 10 years old, you think about, oh, okay, how would you dress? I
Yeah.
know you would dress normal. You
Hmm.
don't think about, oh, I need to not open my legs, say we're
Hmm.
doing a cartwheel or something.
Yeah.
We don't think of those things
Yeah.
until
So,
you've been sexually
right.
abused,
Yeah.
that, oh, I have to cover up now.
Right.
And that was my thing. I went through so many stages
Hmm.
that I'm like, okay, I'm going to cover up and then maybe nobody will look at me.
Yeah.
Because I did develop at a young age,
Hmm.
you know, um
A different.
my body,
Yeah.
so but it's like I would cover up and then I went from that as I got older. Then, I became a stripper.
Hmm.
And so then I'm like, I'm gonna show my body to everybody again,
Yeah. Hmm.
and then I went back to covering up.
Hmm. So just different moments of like
Mhm.
covering
Covering
open,
open. Mhm.
man. And I think about the fact that because somebody had told me, so my one of my therapists, one of the many therapists that I've had, she told me that showing your body a little bit more was a sign of like negative attention seeking.
Mhm.
And it was just like, huh. So I had the same thought. I was like, well, I'm wearing turtlenecks all the time. So people ain't gonna see nothing.
Yeah.
But then I'm over here dying and
Uh-huh.
sweating because I'm trying to cover my body. But at the same time, I didn't want people to think that that's what I operated in that's
Mhm.
something that I was trying to draw people to was my body. And so I just, man, it's so many layers to this. And I think one of the things that, I'm thinking even just hearing your story is just like our parents. Our parents are supposed to be our safe people. Yeah,
Mhm.
they're supposed to rear us in the way that we should go. They're supposed to
Mhm.
teach us these things, and your safe person ends up becoming the person that hurts you.
Mhm.
How did that affect you through the years? Like how did because he was the first man that you were
Right.
introduced to, and so what narrative did you believe about men because of what your father did?
You know, I think for me with that aspect, with that question is, the one person that was supposed to protect me
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah.
The one that's supposed to love me didn't.
Hmm.
He abused me and he took advantage of me as his own daughter,
Yeah.
and so growing up, that's how I viewed men,
Mm-hmm.
that they were either abusive or they were going to take advantage of me. So I didn't trust anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I had a hard time trusting men, period.
Yeah.
And then it became to a point that when I started going back to church, then I had a tainted view of even, my relationship with God, because I viewed God as the way my earthly father treated me
Mm-hmm.
is, oh, God's going to treat me the same way. He's just
Right.
going to be like, whatever.
Yeah.
And so there's that aspect of it. But throughout, all the relationships that I did have, they were not any good.
Mm-hmm.
I was abusive
Yeah.
and I didn't trust them. So
Mm-hmm.
I was, a very, sometimes a very nagging person, but
Mm-hmm.
it was because of all the things that I had been through,
Yeah.
through the abuse, through the rape, and then having the men also cheat
Be
on
the same
me.
way.
Their characteristics were the same as my father's,
Man.
and then my ex-husband, I told him what happened to me. I hadn't told anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I had held like what my dad had did to me until I was 30.
Mm-hmm.
I told my mom, and then I also told my ex-husband.
Mm-hmm.
And even then my ex-husband would still, I would ask him not to do things and he would do it anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And so he couldn't respect those boundaries, so I was always triggered.
Yeah.
Always triggered.
Mm-hmm.
And so it I just had a hard time,
Yeah.
trusting men.
Yeah. That's so like so it's like what happened to you you begin to attract the same man.
Mhm.
And I think for me what happened to me when it came to men was I didn't trust them. I only thought they wanted my body, and then I also would get into this situation where I felt like I couldn't be loved. Like most men friend zone me, like because it was because I began to take on male characteristics. I began to dress with baggy clothes on and just kind of be like, the homeboy
Mhm.
situation. But then it's like when I did actually like a guy, he would be like, "No, you my friend," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, you were cool," and I'm like, "I really liked him,"
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
that constant rejection displayed in
Mhm.
many ways. So it's like you rejecting my body, you're rejecting who I am, and I really actually like you. And so it pushed me to women.
Yeah.
That's what pushed me to women is like the constant rejection from a man pushed me
Mhm.
to the women's side. Me thinking, oh, it's gonna be better over here. Women is crazy.
Mhm.
As a woman, I just gotta be honest. Women are crazy too.
Yeah.
So the things that I was trying to run from, I actually got double on the
Yeah.
other
I
side.
mean,
You know,
all our emotions and
all our
everything.
emotions. I'm like, Jesus. I'm like, oh yeah, it'll be easy over here.
Yeah.
Now the easier part for me was that I was more accepted by women,
Yeah.
but the all the other stuff was
Mhm.
was just turmoil. Like
Yeah.
there was always some type of confliction between our emotions and how we were doing. So I
Mhm.
didn't. The grass wasn't green on the other side. The
Yeah.
grass was higher and scratchier, and and it ain't been mowed in years.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't. So I felt like I was getting rejected from both sides. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
the men they reject me because of they friend zone me, or
Mhm.
they only want me for sex. And then it's like the women, oh, I get accepted by them, but they come with so much baggage. And so
Yeah.
it was just like two worlds colliding, and that can bring a lot of confusion and confliction. And
Mhm.
even going back to what you said about our view about our earthly fathers, like our heavenly father,
Mhm.
I actually had a good relationship with my father. But the thing about it was when that situation happened, my father wasn't there to protect me. So it was like in my mind, I was just like, well, what's going on? And also part of the reason why that happened is because of what my father did. And
Mhm.
so he did something which opened the door for something else to happen to me. And so I didn't find that out till later. And that
Mhm.
was just like, oh, so this is where it came in at.
Yeah.
I didn't do any because again the shame. What did
Mhm.
I do to it to get this happen to me? Like
Yeah.
why me? But it's sometimes somebody else's actions that lead the door open for something to happen to you.
Mhm.
And so that's the process that I had to go through in the sense of just like forgiving my dad for sure for the
Yeah.
things that he did. Um.
Yeah, I know. Even going back of thinking about rejection,
Hmm.
like for me, the rejection began from my mother.
Mm,
I felt rejected from her and abandoned because she left.
with your dad. Hmm.
She left me with my dad.
Hmm.
And, her explanation or her part of her side of the story from, was she left my dad because, he did make what she said, a pass at a younger person.
Hmm.
And the younger person was only a couple years, she's only a couple years older than me.
Hmm.
And so it was like, thinking about rejection, it's like, okay, you're you did all these things, but you rejected me. And so
Hmm.
now I've been carrying rejection, from person to everybody that I came in contact
Hmm.
with. I felt like everybody wanted to use me.
Something from you.
They all wanted something from me.
Hmm.
I felt like nobody was ever sincere.
Hmm.
Okay, what do you want? You want to ride? I mean, it could just simple as that.
Yeah.
Like you can't even be my friend just to be my friend because you want something from me
Yeah.
because I had a car at a young age. Those
Yeah.
kinds of things. It's like I always had to, I was always with a
Questioning everybody.
question
Yeah.
everything and
Hmm.
everybody's intentions with me.
Yeah.
But, that's where rejection started from me,
Hmm. It's your mom.
from my mom,
Yeah.
and then my dad.
Hmm.
It was like because now it's like I did other things that now my dad's rejecting me,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so it's like I had to, from both parents. And they might like my mom may not know that she rejected me or abandoned me. She may not see it that way, but that's what that
That's your
is.
story. Yeah, that's your
That's
story.
that's what it is.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, well, hey, I'd had to like therapy is a
Hmm.
thing that has helped me. And
Yeah.
thank you for that, because you've encouraged me to go through therapy.
Hmm.
You've walked me through deliverance.
Hmm.
There's all these things that I've had to walk through, to get the healing
Yeah.
that, God has for me.
Yeah. Well, you don't gotta thank me. I thank God. Because yeah, I mean, as a person who has been through similar things, it's just like, man, like if I would have not gone to do the things that I've done, then where would I be?
Mhm.
Because again, like I said earlier, I was like, well, I'm okay. I didn't go crazy. I didn't lose my mind. I didn't commit suicide. So I should be good. But then I'm acting out in all these other ways. And so
Yeah.
I'm just like, no, there's something
Yeah.
wrong I just haven't really, I've been covering it. I haven't dealt with it. And so once I went to therapy, once I started, seeking the help, I was like, oh, there's layers to this. I got abandonment. I got resentment. I got
Mhm.
rejection. I got all these things that I've held on to because I haven't never dealt with it.
Yeah.
And nobody's ever asked me about it, and I haven't shared it. And I didn't share with my family till, like I said, like 12 years later. And the way I shared it was kind of like crazy. It's like
Mhm.
my siblings were there, my parents were there, and I was just like, yeah, so we were all on the table just sitting down. And I was like, yeah, so I got raped when I was not, like, I screamed it and everybody's like, ah, it's almost like when you peel the band-aid
Yeah.
out and it's like you scream and it's like, I didn't know how to say it. But I said it after my grandmother passed because I honestly think if my grandmother would have still been alive when she heard this, she probably would have went to go kill him. I'm
Yeah.
just real talk. And so it was like literally the time I told them after my grandmother passed, and my dad like stood up, he got his clothes on, and he was like at the door, and he was like, I'm about to go find him.
Wow.
And my mom like ran to the door and was just like, just be here with us, like all this stuff. But everybody was pretty devastated with the thought of what transpired for me. And then it opened up the door for everybody else to share things that they had been dealing with. And so I don't know. I like being that person that's the person that's like, let me tell my stuff. And then everybody's like, well, this happened to me. And I'm just like, why did I have to do that? Why do I have to go first? That
Yeah.
part of like, why do I have to say it first? But now I'm okay with that, to say what's happened to me first and what's
Mhm.
what's worked for me because there's so many people, again, like I said, that are in shame based off of what transpired that happened to them that was not their fault. And so I think what happened to us was not our fault.
No.
But because it happened to us, it's now our responsibility to do something about it.
Yeah.
And so hearing you say like I'm therapy, deliverance ministry, your relationship with God,
Mhm.
what are the other things that have helped you kind of continue your healing? Because again, we're not going to be healed fully till we're with God. We're still
Right.
working through
Yeah.
things. But what has helped you come to a point of like healing with what transpired for you?
For me, it has really been, really understanding forgiveness.
Mm.
Because even though I've said I forgive my father,
Mm-hmm.
for so many years, I could not talk to him, or I could only be on the phone with him for a short amount of time
Mm-hmm.
before I started getting triggered
Mm-hmm.
on the phone.
Yeah.
But I've had to walk that out.
Mm-hmm.
I had to walk that out. And
Yeah.
I would say, oh, I forgive him,
Mm-hmm.
but I couldn't talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
I forgive him. But once I get off the phone, I'm triggered and I'm angry.
Mm-hmm.
You
You're
know,
remembering everything that
my
transpired.
yes, so my body, our bodies do keep score.
Yeah.
And so because I have the phone up to my ear, now I'm hearing the voice that once used to whisper in my ear
Mm-hmm.
the things that he would whisper to me. And so I mean, I have the phone up to my ear, so it's the same thing to me.
Mm.
And so my body would get triggered.
Yeah.
And so now it's like I had to walk and ask the Lord, what do I do?
Yeah.
How do I handle this situation?
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want to face you one day and then you say you didn't forgive.
Mm. Mm. Mm-mm.
You didn't forgive.
Mm-hmm.
I could say it all day long with my mouth,
Yeah.
but what's in my heart?
Mm.
And I ask him, search my heart.
Yeah.
What is it? Is there anything within me that is not like you?
Yeah.
And he says, you gotta forgive.
Mm.
You have to.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but
Yeah. But God,
but
dang.
God, he did this to me.
Yeah.
He hurt me. He physically and sexually and verbally
Mm-hmm.
abused me.
Yeah. Which entail causes emotional and mental abuse.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's a whole plethora of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I had to, walk forgiveness out.
Okay. So you would say, let's just jump in because forgiveness is the other part of this.
Mhm.
You would say forgiveness, it was the big piece that
A
helped
big
you heal
piece. Yeah.
towards this thing,
Yeah.
towards your father, towards the
Yeah.
abuse.
Yeah. Because, you know, I didn't, like I said, I didn't ever want to stand before God
Mm-hmm.
and Him say,
You did all these
you did all
things
these things.
in my name,
Yeah. But
but
go.
yeah, I don't know you.
I don't know you. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, so what do I need to do, God?
Mm-hmm.
And I used to have like anxiety
Mm-hmm.
over, that was my trigger.
Yeah.
I would start having like anxiety and panic attacks, and then the next day I'm still like having the symptoms of those things
Mm-hmm.
after talking to my dad.
Yeah.
But, what I did was I really asked the Lord and really prayed and sat on it
Mm-hmm.
for a while. Like, how do I handle this?
Mm-hmm.
And slowly he started teaching me how to forgive.
Yeah.
And what I had to walk out was for me to verbally say things.
Mm-hmm.
I look up scriptures. I had scriptures on my wall saying, whose I am and what I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, it was, okay, now I need you to write things out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, what do I write down?
Mm-hmm.
And when I tell you, like, for me also, too, like, there was a lot of things that I did not remember of my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
A lot.
Yeah.
Like, I had big things that I just did not remember. But as I started praying and as he started revealing a lot of things to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so he took me on a journey of for 7 days, this one particular season in
Mm-hmm.
2019,
Mm-hmm.
where he had me write things out on an index card.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was random things, every day, but it was really writing out that I do not take anything from my father and his side in his bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
I do not accept any demonic bloodline curses, generational curses.
Mm-hmm.
I do not expect anything from my earthly father that Satan would try to hold like against me and try to say, "Oh, she's continuing to do this particular, oh, she still has unforgiveness." So, and it's because she wants to hold on to
What he did.
what he did. And so I had to write these things out. I had to write out that I don't accept anything from my father. Anything that's not from God,
I don't want it.
I don't want it. And I don't receive it. And I don't accept it. And that's not part of me.
Mm-hmm.
What's part of me is what God says about what he says about me and what he has given me.
Yeah.
And so I was, and he, there was other things that that my father,
Yeah.
my Abba,
Yeah.
he was telling me to write. And so what I did, I wrote every day on this index card. First, it just started just the front side.
Yeah.
Then I had to start writing smaller by getting closer to the seventh day, because I
Yeah.
was writing front and back.
Yeah.
But each day I would burn it and then I would pray.
Mm.
And I was like, burn it. When he gave me those instructions, I was like, that's weird, Lord. Like, but
Mm-mm.
he said, burn it. And
Right.
I'm like, well, I don't even own a lighter,
Yeah.
So I had to, do it on the stove. But I would grab it, let it burn, and then take it outside. And then I would start praying.
Mm.
And, sometimes I would joke and, step on it.
Yeah.
Like I'm like,
Any way to let it go. Any way to let it go.
yeah, I
Yeah.
had to. But I literally felt like him just peeling off layers
Yeah.
off of me.
Yeah.
Him showing me um that I am loved,
Mm-hmm.
that I am worthy,
Yeah.
and that I am capable of receiving good things.
Yeah. Man, that's amazing. It's so good because it just reminds me of how, God is like a counselor.
Mhm.
He's not like he is the
He
counselor.
is the
He is
counselor.
the counselor. And so it
Come
seemed
on,
like he
Holy
gave
Spirit.
you a practical way to be able to work through your stuff with him first.
Mhm.
And then I know you went to therapy and all that type of stuff. And
Mhm.
so God is so good in the sense of just like how he can meet you where he knows is going to help you.
Mhm.
For me, he knows I am a person that needs to be confronted, and I need to confront things head on.
Yeah.
So I've shared my story before, but yeah, God made me go forgive my offender in his face. And so I was like,
Mm.
you want me to go do what? Like when he told me to do that, I was just like, I'm not about to go asking for forgiveness. He gonna get this knuckle sandwich. That's what he's about to get. About to two-piece him up. And so he told me to do it because he was like, if you want to help your family move forward and heal, you got to deal with this first. You can't like he pretty much checked me like you can't be out there trying to be missional and help people if you got your own junk in your
Mhm.
trunk.
Mhm.
I ain't talking about big booty. I'm talking about junk in your trunk. I had junk in my stuff that needed to
Yeah.
be dealt with, and so I didn't want to do it, but I said, "All right, God, I'll do it." Within 2 days, I found all the information I needed. Because at first I was
Wow.
like, God,
Yeah.
like, I ain't gonna know where he is. I don't know, I would be
Trying to
like,
make
I don't know,
excuses.
God, I don't know, I don't know. And God's like, this,
Here you
this, this is.
go.
I'm like, dang. Well, my
Mhm.
phone though, he's like, you got a phone. I just try to make all these excuses, but found where he was, but found out he had dementia. And I was just like, okay, so why am I going to ask a guy forgiveness if he has dementia? He's not even going to remember me. And he was like, yes, he will. Yes, he will. And so I go to the nursing home where he is. I go into his room and he's all irate and everything like that and upset because, he's sick. And so I come in the room and I'm like, hey, like it's me, Tiffany Walker at the time, my maiden name. And he was just like, who are you? All these things. And so I get closer to him and I was like, hey, it's me, Tiffany Walker. And his eyes were jaundiced at first, but then they turned back into the color that
Mhm.
it was when I was a little girl. And I was just like, oh God, like this some creepy, this is well, I've seen some scary movies by then. I'm like, this some creepy stuff. And so I'm like, okay, God. He's like, I'm with you. I said I'll be with you. I'm reminded of Joshua when he tells Joshua to go,
Mhm.
and he's just like, I'm gonna be with you. Like he was with me. And so I go up to him and I say, hey, I remember what you did to me when I was 9 years old, and I forgive you in Jesus' name. And he was like, oh, what? Like, what are you talking about? All the things. So I get closer to him. I say, hey, I mean, we're probably about this close to each other. He's in the bed. I'm like, hey, I remember what you did to me when I was 9, and I forgive you in Jesus' name. And his eyes turn back and he's just like, oh, wow, thank you. And then he takes my hand and kisses it, but I did not feel nothing. Like I was so covered by God's spirit that I didn't feel a thing. And I just took my hand back and walked out the room. Like I didn't wait for him to say, I mean, there was a moment, a pause where he could have said, forgive me, but he didn't. And that's when I knew that forgiveness wasn't for him, it was for
For
me.
you.
And
Yeah.
because as soon as I stepped out the room, like everything, like I felt like a big weight come off my body.
Mhm.
And so I felt that that was my shame. That was like the things that that held me down, that weighed me down, the
Mhm.
thoughts and all the things. And what I also felt happened to me is that God was restoring my innocence,
Mhm.
because my innocence was taken from me and I didn't want it to be. I feel
Right.
like I would have probably been a virgin for a very long time if that wouldn't have transpired, but it did. And so God started beginning the process of restoring me from that moment forward.
Mhm.
And that's where forgiveness came. It's like
Yeah.
I forgave him and I forgave myself, because those are two things that people don't do. They can forgive the person, but they don't forgive themselves.
Yeah.
And so there was a part that I had to forgive myself because I felt like it was my fault.
Mhm.
And so that's where the healing began. And then after that, I went on the whole journey. I remember even sharing with my parents that like the day after I shared with them that I forgave him. And they were both like, what? Like, why, how'd you find him? And like, why would you do that? And I was like, cause of God. But I remember their faces like, not
Yeah.
like they didn't know God, but they didn't know how God was like speaking to me,
Yeah.
how loud he was in my life, how much I was obedient to him. It like shocked them. They was like, what? You forgave him? My mom goes, I ain't going where and I'm just like, it
Mhm.
ain't for you to know where he is. That was for me to do. And so that journey helped me to understand many things. So it's like if I could forgive my offender, I could forgive a lot of people. And I'm still forgiving a lot of people.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
Right now. There's a lot of
Yeah.
forgiveness that I'm having to
Yeah.
display every day. And so I think one of the things that people have to understand is forgiveness is a process.
It is.
It's not a one-time thing. Every time
Mhm.
something comes up for me, I forgive it.
Yeah.
Every time I'm reminded of something, I'm like, I forgive him, God. Like you forgive
Mhm.
me. Because that's what the Bible said.
Yeah.
It's that you better forgive or your father
Let
won't
them
forgive
forgive
you.
you.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I don't need God to hold on to anything I've
Yeah.
done to him.
Yeah.
Because I've done a lot. I've
Yes.
done a lot. And he forgives us. And so I think that's a big process of forgiveness is the continuation of it. So did you ever because I know your father has passed by now. Did you ever forgive him?
I did. I think that when he called me one day and he said, "If I've ever offended you,
Mm,
please forgive me."
mm,
But I had to walk that out. I
mhm,
was like, "Oh my gosh," he said, for me to forgive him.
mhm,
But then as I talked to my husband, he's
mhm.
like, "That's kind of like a not a full will you forgive me
Yeah.
for." He didn't
He didn't directly
admit.
say,
Yeah, he didn't directly say it.
mm,
He said if.
mm,
He didn't say
I
I.
did.
But the thing that I've learned is my father didn't have the tools
Mm,
to give me something that he didn't know anything about.
mm,
And so I took it And I said, "Okay, God,
Mhm.
this is the best that he knew.
Mhm.
I forgive him.
Yeah.
I forgive him." And even before he passed, like we talked on the phone all the time. And I do want to say that I'm not saying that it's okay for you to let your offender or somebody who's abused you to let them back in your
Oh.
life. And I'm not saying that,
Yeah.
but if the Lord is leading you to, because God is part of restoration.
Yeah.
He can restore the
And
things if we
reconciliation.
we allow him to,
Mhm.
or if there's a need for it to be done.
Yeah.
And this for me is restoration.
Mhm.
And God gets all the glory,
Yeah.
because had it been just Brenda probably would have, knocked his teeth out.
Yeah.
Wait till you get older. I'm gonna,
I'm pay you
I'm
back.
pay you back.
Yeah.
You know.
For sure. You can't do nothing. You go be in that diaper. I'ma slap you down. Yeah.
I'm just saying,
That's real. Real talk.
but I didn't do those
Yeah.
things. I was there, and God restored our relationship.
Wow.
And I know that he had regret, and I have voice messages from him telling me, "You mean the world to me.
Mm.
I'm so proud of you. I love you."
Mm.
All these things that I never got to hear from him
Mhm.
growing up, because the whole time I thought I was just this, worthless person. Things that he had spoke over me
Yeah.
was a disgrace to the family. I was never going to amount to anything.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things, I held on to those things. I'm 48 years old.
Wow.
My dad told me this probably like 2 years ago.
Wow.
So
Mhm.
it's like, hey, I'll take it, Lord, whatever.
Mhm.
Whatever you got to work through me,
Mhm.
and let's see this restoration unfold. I want to see it, because guess what? I want to be able to help other people walk it out.
Yeah. That's so
Because
good.
that thing is like you said, forgiveness is not for them, it's for us.
Mhm.
We can't be 60 and held in all this bondage. We're not going to live a fruitful life.
Yeah.
We're not.
Mhm.
It's just the fruit's not going to be good.
Yeah.
We have to be able to do the hard things,
Yeah.
walk it out, allow God to use us, use our story for others, because
Mhm.
there's so many other
So many.
people that have gone through this, who has been their father, who's been their mother, who's
Mhm.
been an auntie, uncle,
Yeah.
whoever, grandparents, and they're silent,
Mhm.
and they're slowly dying in silence, because no, they don't want to say anything, because of shame,
Yeah.
because of fear.
Mhm. Man, that's so good. I want to go back to what you said about forgiveness doesn't always mean that you got to let them back, cuz I want to say forgiveness doesn't mean access sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So sometimes you can forgive somebody and it's time to let them go.
Mhm.
I had to learn that like the hard way, cuz I'll forgive somebody in a minute and I'll give them back access to a spot that they once had, but they have already broke the trust.
Mhm.
And so it's just like God had to teach me, and it's teaching me still, that you can forgive them, but that doesn't mean that they get to be close to you. That doesn't mean they get to see you. That doesn't mean they get to monitor you. That
Mhm.
doesn't mean they get to see your life. It's like and so even that understanding of that is just like, okay, God, like I see them, I wish them well and all the things, but that don't mean we gonna be on the phone like, hey Kiki, hey girl, la, la, la. It's like what?
Yeah.
Like we were like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You had an opportunity to be that close to me, but you abused that time and you abused that relationship. And so now I can't give you that anymore. And so I want to make that clear too, that forgiveness does not mean access.
Yeah.
And God's heart is for reconciliation, for sure, to come to amends, to come to some type of peace. But peace may be like you stay your
Oh,
peace over there,
uh-huh.
and I'm gonna stay my peace over
Exactly.
here, and we gonna be at
Exactly.
peace separately.
That's 100%
You know what I
true.
mean?
Yeah. Because we can't. Why would we continue to allow somebody in our life to continue that cycle?
Right.
Because now we're going to be in that cycle.
Yes.
And God didn't call us to be in these cycles.
Mm-mm.
He called us to be breakers.
Yeah.
To
Chain breakers at that.
okay.
Chain breakers at that. You know what I'm saying? Get these chains off of me. Because people
Yeah.
would try to keep you in bondage
Yeah.
by things that they've said that, you hear relationships, you hear men say, oh, or women say, I won't do it again. I ain't gonna, please forgive me. I ain't gonna do it again. Then they do it again. And they do it
Yes.
again. So who's the
Mhm.
one who is accepting it? It's you.
Yeah.
And so you have to do something about that. You can forgive
Mhm.
them. Hey, guess what? I hear you. I appreciate you, but you keep doing this. So
Mhm.
therefore, you don't value me. That's what people have to understand. When somebody keeps doing the same behavior of abuse, sexual, mental, physical, emotional, they don't value you.
Right.
They don't see your worth. And so they keep doing it because you keep allowing it. I'm not saying like a child and an adult situation because that's not fair.
Mhm.
But I'm saying an adult to
Adult to
adult.
adult. Yeah.
But also there are adults that still are in the a childhood mindset. So I
Mhm.
won't negate that either. But you don't have to be stuck no more. We already talked about that
Yeah.
last episode, but you don't got to be stuck in the sense of like acting like a child and you're adult. But when you keep accepting something that is hurtful, you do not value yourself and they do not value you.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to say, hey, like, enough is enough. I deserve better.
Yeah.
I want better. I want to attract somebody that is going to be better. And speaking of attraction, we both attracted, hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Praise the Lord. Some good men. Talk about your
Yes.
husband. Talk about your husband. Who your husband is? Who your husband is?
Mhm. So.
Mhm. Oh, we got to turn this camera off. Brenda's like, this is a Christian podcast,
Oh, I'm
Christian. This is
sorry.
a Christian
You
podcast,
know.
Brenda.
No, I'm very thankful for my husband.
Hmm.
He has been so patient with me,
Hmm.
through all my trauma, through all everything that I have been through. He is the one person that God has appointed to walk this life with me
Yeah.
because he has the patience,
Hmm.
he has the grace
Hmm.
to handle me
Hmm.
in the way that he does.
Yeah.
He has never mishandled me
Hmm.
in a way that God didn't. And you know what? There's times that God has corrected him.
Hmm.
Hey, you responded to her in a harsh way. Go,
Apologize. Hmm.
apologize. And he was like, Love, I'm sorry.
Hmm.
But I prayed and prayed and prayed for him,
Hmm.
and he has God. I have seen God just catapult, just,
Hmm.
you know, since then, since 2019,
Hmm.
that he has been really on fire for the Lord
Yeah.
and really doing the work that God's called him to do. And so I'm just thankful. I
Hmm.
know I am.
Yeah.
I'm very thankful that I have a husband who loves me, who I feel safe with, and that I don't have to feel like he is going to overstep some boundaries, that I previously had. I
Yeah.
don't have them anymore, just, but
Yeah.
I did.
Hmm.
He knew, hey, don't touch me this way or whatever.
Hmm.
But I've been healed.
Yes.
So now there's no triggers. Like
Yeah.
he can do certain things that I
Not anymore.
couldn't receive
Hmm.
before. And, he is very kind and, he just loves me.
Mm.
And I love him.
Come on, brother Danye. Shout out to you, brother Danye. I've seen him love on you, and I've seen the way he is with you, and I know that he loves you down. I know he loves you and takes care of you and cares for you a lot. And speaking of my man, shout out
Mhm.
Mr. R Jizzle, Lil Pappy. All the things
Mhm.
that I call him. Man, I do feel like God ordained him to be with me as well,
Yeah.
because I'm a lot. I don't know if y'all could tell. I'm a lot. But he sent me with the most patient guy I've ever met in my
Oh
life.
my goodness.
I'm more of the fire, he more of the water. Sometimes he got to sizzle me out because I'm a set ablaze, a little wildfire. But he's a great balance. He
He
balances
is.
me out. He's so kind. He's so gentle with me. So safe. I was definitely got free, and I was like, well, God, you gonna be my boyfriend forever. You gonna be my boyfriend. I don't need nobody.
Mhm.
And then here comes this man, you know, coming around my vicinity. I'm like, I don't know what he doing. I ain't looking at him, and I'm looking at him. You know. But I got to
Yeah.
watch his character, and I think that's the biggest thing is that I needed somebody who had good character. I
Mhm.
needed somebody who not spoke what they not just said. I'm a good man. I'm a man of God. What?
But their
What?
actions are totally
You
different.
a man of trash. I'm sorry, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
like you talking about you a man of God. You a man of trash. Because what I
Mhm.
keep seeing is garbage on the ground, and you just want me to clean it up. No, I got me a man of God that really is after God's heart. Because these men be like, I'm a man of God, but they ain't with God. They don't talk to God. They don't live like God. And so you got to
Mhm.
watch their actions.
Mhm.
They just be trying to catch these women up. I'm a
Yeah.
man of God, but
Yeah.
let's go lay down. Let's go sleep around. Let's go hump hump. Let me buy the cow before I, let me taste the milk before I buy
Make
the
my
cow.
count.
My Jesus. I got me a man of God,
Uh-huh.
who was willing to wait
Yes.
till we, made marriage. And so
I,
I thank God for him. I truly believe that God, yeah, he was somebody that got sent to
mhm.
me. And y'all gotta watch out because the enemy sends people too. You gotta
Mhm.
have discernment. But I knew
Yeah.
he's in the place where he could handle my trauma. He could handle, my story, because I
Mhm.
was definitely worried whoever's gonna be with me. I'm like, who can handle this story that I have? Who
Mhm.
can handle what I've been through and be
Yeah.
able to be like, it's
And be
cool
safe.
and be
And be
safe
safe at the
and
same
not be
time.
like and not run.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I told him everything like the first week we dated. I was like,
Uh-huh.
this what happened to me, this what happened to me, this. You still want to stay? And he was like, yeah. I was
Uh-huh.
like, okay,
That's the way it was with me and
okay.
Donnie.
You still want to stay?
Mhm.
Good luck.
Mhm.
I'm saying good luck, Miss Me. I'm like, good luck.
Uh-huh.
But he has stayed around. He's faithful, and I,
Yeah.
I know that God has used him to display the love
Mhm.
of how it says in the Bible that
Yeah.
he's supposed to love
Love.
the church and
Mhm.
like love me like he loves like Christ loves the
Love the
church.
church.
And I've
Yeah.
I've experienced that from him, and so I'm
Yeah.
I'm grateful for the healing that God has used through him, through therapy, through
Mhm.
practical resources, and it's been a holistic situation.
Yeah.
And so,
It's the same here. I mean, I've we've been able, me and Donnie have been able to see you and RJ walk a lot of things out. And, we always say, hey, if y'all want a real life example of actual adults, being able to say no, sex before marriage, and y'all sustain, like, hey, y'all need to come and talk to them, because not a lot of people do that. Not a lot of people are willing to wait and really listen to what the Lord is saying.
yeah, it was tough. Now, was it many nights of cold showers? Yes. Was it many nights where I was shaking? Yes. But the Lord held on to me. But it's possible.
It,
It's possible. I am here to say that it's possible.
Mhm.
Even if they so attractive. I mean, he would cook and I'll be like, my Lord, I gotta go. This wing right here, I ain't never tasted. Never seen. But there it's possible. It's possible and it comes with submission to God.
Mhm.
I didn't want to cheat on God, so I didn't want to cheat on God with who he has sent to me.
Yeah.
And I don't think people think that. Like when I sin, I cheat on God.
Mhm.
I'm being unfaithful to God. And so I didn't want to do that because I think that would perpetuate a thing in my relationship. I could possibly cheat on my husband because I'm cheating on God.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do that. And so, and he didn't want to do that either. And many other reasons, but to live a consecrated life before getting married was tense, but it was
Yeah.
possible and you can do it.
And you guys walked it out. You guys walked it out. And, I'm just really thankful that, God knows exactly who we need.
Mhm.
And a lot of times we just want to rush into a relationship and we're not asking the Lord, is that my husband?
Yeah.
Or the men asking, is that my wife? Just because we see something that looks good
Hmm.
on the outside, but we're not waiting to hear an answer from the Lord to see what their actual fruit is
Mm.
and actually seeing, hey, this person is your spouse.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times that's why we get, mixed up. I know for me,
Me too.
I have, children from a couple different fathers and it's like,
Yeah.
you know, I never waited.
Yeah.
I never asked, actually. I
Yeah.
never asked.
Never asked God. It
I
was just
never
like, I
asked
know God,
God.
you sent him,
Mhm.
did you send him?
Uh-huh.
And God's like, no,
No.
you brokenhearted on the ground crying.
Uh-huh.
And God's like, I never
Never
sent
said
him.
that.
You
Yeah.
wanted that.
Yeah.
And so he sometimes has to allow us to
Mhm.
to attract what we want. And then once we get tired, sick and tired of
Mhm.
sitting, getting tired,
Mhm.
getting all these things, we realize, no, that's not what I want anymore. I want more.
Yeah.
And so there's more for everybody if you're willing. If
Yeah.
you're willing to wait, God will send. If you're willing to do the work, God will send. And so I'm excited about the fact that, we are here sitting as a testimony of God to show God can save because God saved us.
Yes, he
You
did.
know that those things that you went through, I went through, those could have took us out. But
Mhm.
we have a God that saves. We have a God that's faithful that was with us. He
Redeemed
he
us.
showed me, redeemed us. He showed me the moments where he was there because I was like, where were you at, God? Like, where were you when this was? He was like, I was there, but evil is evil.
Mhm.
Evil, when something is allowed, it's allowed because of his law, because of, evil in the world. And so it's like, this was allowed, but it was one of those situations where God didn't let it get too far,
Yeah.
where his hand was still there with me. And so I had to forgive God, because I was just like, it's your fault. Dang. You supposed to be the God of little love. And he was just like, but he showed me. And what also helped me was The Shack. I don't know if anybody's seen that movie, The
Yeah.
Shack. My Lord. Talk about altar call.
Mm-hmm.
That'll get you. That, and the Passion of Christ. You go
Right.
repent of something, and you gonna cry, you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
do a lot of things. But yeah, like I just truly believe God is faithful, God is good, and we're sitting here as living testimonies to God's grace and mercy upon our lives. And so I just want people to know that that there's help,
Yeah.
there's healing, there's possibility. Me and Brenda are literally real life people that went through traumatic things, and God has like helped us, and he's been with us, and he's still with us. And so yeah, we would love for you to reach out if you want to talk about more about your situation, and also lead you to resources, because we're not the source. But we could help you walk through some things if you want to talk about your abuse, and maybe never told nobody, maybe you haven't felt comfortable. But hey, hit us up. And Brenda, you want to share where people could reach out to you and find you at?
Yeah. So we are on YouTube and TikTok and Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
Consecrated Conversation,
Mm-hmm.
and also on Chainbreaker TV.
Okay, that's where people can find you and your
Mm-hmm.
husband. Okay. Y'all know where she at. That's where she be. Okay. And I'm just on YouTube and Facebook and Insta. And I just created TikTok, which I don't know what I'm doing, but there we are. Because I'm 90 years old.
And some of those things, just so y'all know, I might have said wrong because we changed some names a little bit,
Just
but
look for Brenda Wise on
yeah.
Facebook. She's on there. But thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, Brenda, for being here, for being so brave to share your story. Man, when you told me your story, I was very impacted by it, and the fact that you still talk to your father and work through that process, it inspired me to continue to forgive those who do petty stuff. And I'm just like, Brenda can forgive her father. I can forgive, little Susie down the street that took my candy. So I just appreciate your braveness and your ability to share your story out loud. And so I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for everything that you represent, and I love you.
I love you too. Thank you for having me.
Of course. We'll catch y'all next time on episode 6. You guys have a great day. Peace.